I just made a 1 hour long video about my Vulcanus base in Factorio, but I was muted, so 1 hour of talking can be thrown into trash. But there is a positive, I can talk a bit better, and I can just make some tour in my base for you. So generally, this is I wanted to share my setup with that 800 SPM base on Vulcanus because I think it's pretty good setup. I mean, it's functioning for weeks already, and it looks pretty decent, I would say. But for the start, I want to say that I am playing on marathon run, so every research is much more expensive. I set marathon multiplier to 100. So let's say atomic bomb is 500k instead 5k. So everything is just much more expensive. So here is space for the lab. And I know that 800 is not a peak you can make on volcanoes because it's not that hard to exceed this. But I made it to the 800 and I think it's already enough to slowly push forward my goals. So mostly I want to show you what kind of setup I made. And I made an incredibly big ores on the volcanoes. So random core ore is like 100 million. So keep that in mind, except for the tungsten. I made tungsten small. And what to start from? That entire place was once one big coal mine, so that's why there's so much empty space. So yeah, I made a big column of smelting the metal and copper here, and it's pretty good. And I was on Fulgora first, so I have a secular set, and that's pretty much that. There is some starting area I made in my base, so later I just wanted to try on the main base design as I made on Nauvis, which was quite functioning. But I made it to about 3 science packs per second, and it was about my peak of science on Nauvis. And thus I was running very quickly with ore, so I get to the Vulcanus, set up here, and I simply don't want to go back for Nauvis. So that's the initial setup for the mall with a main bus, so everything is going here, simple setup, and what I can say I'm relatively proud of is that setup for the making green base with actually direct inserting everything another beds need. So it's pretty functioning. And there is one line from the one tungsten ore, just dedicated especially for the tungsten place for the birds. And all this build is just for the mall set. And this space here was once a big coal fashion factory, and now it's just big calcite storage with some big snake, just to make it a bit closer to the rocket sailors. So old setup with coal that was dumping here to the refineries is replaced with some trains with yeah, just with some trains. It works pretty well. I'm actually surprised that it works that well because that's actually my first decent train setup here in this game. Everything else was like one train, maybe two, with sometimes two locomotives face in the opposite direction, so it can be one simple line, like I often do on Fugara, and here is just a decent rail network. I mean working rail network, which looks terrible for the veterans here. But for my defense, I didn't have the foundation of rails before, so that's why it looks bad. So yeah, to start off now. That's simple mine of coal, so it's just two loading stations, but it's functional. There is the same thing for the tungsten ore, which is actually for the production one. But I made a much bigger buffer some time ago, and I see that it simply keeps with the LDS productivity research, because before this station was unloading pretty well, but the thing was that those trains occasionally waited here, and the buffer made of just eight features was not enough, so I made much bigger one, and it looks like just one big mine is fitting my needs for now. And that's another call out stations, which are basically for carbon. So as I am already here, let's start from the beginning, I mean from the end. So that's the carbon plant, and I modified a few things last video, but it's currently making wall line of the carbon, and those assemblers with tungsten carbide operating wall lane and a bit of the tungsten carbide, consuming wall lane of carbon and 2 lanes of the tungsten ore. That's why I made that tungsten ore for two trains instead of one. And that's smelting column. I mean, this smelting column is eating only 80, so it's much less than one, but I mean that's everything is made with green beds already. And yeah, that's 37.5, and this need 35.6. This carbide are 79, where I need like 53. So everything fits demands, and in that video that I was muted, I just replaced those productivity modules from the green to blue ones, because I just have much more of them. So some ratio may be a bit better than I recorded before, so I may be surprised sometimes. Anyway, 4 lines of tungsten from the trains for this amount of science seems enough, and as it can fit 30, it's about half line, so it's already more than each of the other assembly lines I made. And so this is about the metal science and about the setup of foundries. I made it some kind of main bus here with lines of copper and iron, and it's maybe quite common thing in factory, but I'm pretty proud of it that it just worked well. For some places I just made a few bumps that directly insert the fluid here, like the engine production, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So the line is not exceeded, and there are two main columns of making that molten iron copper, and this one on the right is just bigger and is mostly as a infinite molten ingredients stuff, because there is everywhere an endpoint of two recyclers and some making of the landfill. Yes, that was called the landfill. And on the one hand, it's a design. On the other hand, I cannot extract any stone from there. That's why I made the second outpost, which is much smaller and was designed most to fit into two lines of the stone. So it should have like 60 stone per line, maybe even more. And the other thing is that it's quite early built, so some modules may be a bit old, but it simply fits. And yeah, those two are main molten iron to copper distributors, but I had to make a buffer and limit it to like 5k, because sometimes there is some need. Actually, on this side, on this is this part of factory, there is completely no need for molten copper. So everything at the consequence goes here for the main line, and for the another buffer that is limited to 20k. And it's limited because that column here can make it full in 2 seconds. And same with the iron ore. But the iron is actually partially consumed here in steel and rod production to feed those samples here. And these are designed for exactly two lines of the rails. These are designed to have about one line of the stone bricks here. But I made also some kind of backup, which does twice as much. And actually it was not only because sometimes I had too much stone here, but also because I needed bricks. So let's call it a backup. And this stone is partially taken from the rest of the race one and rest of the bricks one. But that's because on some research that are very initial research, like fine flammables, I may sometimes it's make this buffer of molten ion simply go to its limit. So if that buffer goes to the limit, those foundries don't produce any molten iron and any stone. So as the consequence, that line that goes down here, production of the military science, is simply dry because there's no stone, no bricks, nothing to make a wall of. So It's the one bottleneck I actually have no good solution except making this trick. So no iron, so have to produce something, and still there is iron in the system because those line is still working. And even if I make this upper line and those few pumps pumping full speed, and in a few seconds I have already full tanks here. So the only limitation of this build is, I found that the only limitation, except the throughput, is that it sometimes can lag if I choose research that not consume enough iron and copper here in other science packs, because something like this with chemical science and science packs with science packs is consuming enough steel and enough iron and copper, so this production can grow all the time. Yes, so that was it, and let's go from the easy one. So for the red science, the setup is very simple. Just one foundry for the plates, one foundry for the gears, both connected from the main line of Vulcanus pumps. And something like this should make easily enough half build that I was aiming for. So I was aiming about like 8 or 9 bucks per second, but I ended up with better modules and with 12.5. At least on red. Other sciences are more like 15. But one fan repair each is enough. For the green science, I made some direct build. So toward here are the lines from the main. There is simple setup for the buds, and relatively simple setup with electromagnetic plant to feed the assembly machine for the inserters. And it has some negative values here, but it's mostly calculated to fit everything except here. But this is like half of this value because we have a bit less than a half of replacing that. So let's say it's 18, and here I allocate it like 13 birds per second, and everything just fits pretty well. So with simple direct insert, we make this. And for chemical science, there's much more assemblers that I actually thought I need. It's probably the biggest one. There is a relatively big set for the engines, and there is the line of molten iron. Oh yeah, there are pumps here. So there is a lot of iron here going and a lot of pumping copper here for just those. Yeah, there is only one foundry to use actually that copper. But for the steel, iron, there is setup like this. So everything of the pipes are going to fit the demand of that column here. So it's actually everything is positive. But all you need for setup this column of engines is just 4 foundries and some modules. And the more complicated thing was with sulfur and with the red circuits. So let's take a look to refinery thing. There is outputs for the trains, and This coal goes mostly for refineries, as you see, and some coal goes upward, and some is going for the plastic production, some is taken to the assembling machines for the military science, which should be actually solved with another terrain here, but I was too lazy to set it. And yeah, that's some beds for plastic, and that's one bed to fit another plastic machines, and each can make almost full bed of plastic, and it's definitely enough to fit the line like this. There is no big complication here for the red circuits, but I just think it's just pretty well working. So I'm showing it. Hmm. So getting back to the coal liquefaction, there, this is a programmer move with one pipe with the factories. I mean, the oil refineries, and heavy oil is pumped here to one big looped looped pipe. I mean, because if you just hover it, you see that everything is connected here. There is a heavy oil buffer. There is smaller buffer just to set up those pumps, and it goes later for the cracking. Cracking is done very simple, and the same thing is later made for the light oil. So there should be always some, maybe not big, but some buffer of light oil and heavy oil, so nothing will be dry. That's especially important for the heavy oil, because it needs heavy oil to make heavy oil. That's quite recreation. And I made 2 lines of coal per each refinery, but actually one line is taking about 1 line of coal per second maximally. So there is no more than this, and I think I just wanted to fit more than 2 converters to actually fit it. But I made a much better thing with just making pipes like this, so this build is easy to copy by making this, so pipe to pipe, and as you see, it's very simple to copy paste. Zero copy paste, and even without any changes, it will be copied. So the thing was to make this crosses here and to actually fit it well. So making another line of this will be relatively simple. So yeah, it's working. Yeah, so with programmer move there is one pipe for everything, and a lot of pumps to pump out the light oil, the petroleum gas, and some heavy oil just to make a loop for the engines. And some of that heavy oil goes here for the another loop that is used in the green bed production and blue bed. And some of that light oil goes for the rocket fuel production, which is very long pipe, but I decided to keep it like this at least until I came back here and make anything. And so cracking is emitted to the tanks, and seems like it is enough to actually fit everything. If we check gases, there is not enough. With only with 500% those. So it seems like I am quite lucky that it's simply it's about 2000 of need, and tracking is about 600. Those are up to 200. So effectively, maybe that one day, so that I have to simply work on this one pretty day. But actually, demand for the sulfur is much smaller. The only thing needs it is the blue science and occasionally some explosives. And yeah, so blasting goes here, and there is simple setup for green circuit, which seems to be all the time, even with some lack of conflicts. And everything is actually missing only a bit place for the green circuit, but need for green circuit much smaller than the actual production. So everything matches 18 need and 23 on production. And that's one line of plastic here, because there is 51 at max, and there is need for up to 52. So some part of this is going for the underline, which is much more complicated because it works for the purple science. And I made a huge mistake to start doing from this place, and some, let's say, move of all that oil part to the right would be probably much better move, but there was once a coal mine, and after all I ended with this build and it's working, so I don't touch it like every good IT guy. And I needed much more green circuit production here to keep purple science red circuit demands. And that's why I also made better distribution than here. So there is half line, and there is full line. Because simply good to end plants to make something. And more so there is the line goes here to feed the module production. And after all, there is 32 in need and 58 to actually consume. But making electric finances is 25 with output of 5, where I need about 4 to keep that speed of purple science. So actually for this is about, for this I mean input meets output, so I'm keeping it like that. But as I probably mentioned before, better modules made it easier to fit shortly, because just because it was easier to expand that. And different thing was with expanding this, I thought that just 2 plants will be enough to feed the assemblers with the modules, but I had to make another line here, and those lines together makes all that purple science need. So purple science is the one that actually needs stone, and that's almost the only one. So I showed you before, there is that rail production here. Some rods that is overkill here, because one line needs like 30, 30, 30, and there is 300, and there are 2 lines, and probably I was looking for the 2 lines, and that's why I set those line of steel for 60, and when the productivity was researched, it jumped to about 92. So most probably I just made this instead of this. Anyway, this is full line of the rails. This is another full line of rails, and this needs exactly 2 lines of rails. So it simply fits enough to the cylinders and stone bricks with that actual buffer of stone bricks. It's going from the top here. So the only problem I now see is that I may end up with not enough stone bricks for both the purple and black sands if I would make something like let's say aquila sand except which need wait. Aquila sands don't need black one. Okay. I was surprised a bit. So yeah, that one line is relatively enough for my demands. So proper science is done. So about black science. Oh yeah, this steel line is actually feeding both the furnaces and the red ammo. Red ammo is a huge overkill. I need just 6.7 and there is up to 18. Everything here is with small plates, with small plate. Negative, it's much more above the needs. And yeah, how the line is going. Literally one pumping molten iron here. It goes through those and go here to make steel products. So refineries take the coal from the refineries. As I said, there should be some trains here for it. And pretty much because it's a lot of coal. And it should be about enough to keep it working. Oh yeah, and there is a wall connection. So everything is just a bit above the needs for the black science. At least now, because I changed out the modules here. And 2 speeded assemblers are enough to eat over 1 line of bricks and make like 12 wall instances, and there is about 13 need, but I'm not aiming in exact that number for now, so it's enough for the needs. And the only thing that is, let's say, a bit stupid is that I took that copper plate line from there, because let's say that I should make a pump here and pump some molten copper here for some reason, as I can make a molten copper line here and some extension here to make this copper plate and these 2 pumps to actually feed yellow cyan build. And speaking of yellow cyan build, I have that one pump for the iron, 2 for copper and 2 lines of plastics. So I made some kind of build for the blue circuit. Don't ask me why I made this actually, because I said that it will be faster to make a line here, and then I see, oh, I actually made a foundry with wires. Why I'm not using it? That's the question. Anyway, this setup is enough to fit every red assembler here, red plant here. And that's pretty much similar build like the above for green circuits. And direct inserts are, as the programmer says, simply better for the UPS. So I made this. So the biggest disadvantage is that huge line to the main line, which is going to yellow science build. Anyway, what can I say? There is line of modern copper. There is line of the iron mostly from it. And this build is very easy to copy paste actually. So making it mostly fits the walls. What already was built. So I made the same thing here and with just copy paste, and this is my quick setup for the blue circuit in the model setting. Okay, so that was green circuit. Everything should be above the needs a bit. And LDS are relatively easy on Vulcanus, so all you need is just one belt with plastic and some wiring with the pipes. So I made actually, as you see, I split it. I'm not split it, sometimes made this one short, sometimes longer, but the thing is, one line is going like this, second one is going like this. And it made it quite short. But the thing is to fit somehow that one inserter with that will give some plastic here. So that's the simple bit. And that's the rubber frames built. Again, simple setup for the green circuits. Just split it to electric engines and for the rubber frames. There's also simple setup for the steel here. That line goes down and it fits also that plate. And that copper line is going only for that one foundry, so it can make batteries, and batteries then connect to the electric engines. And electric engines match their normal engines 1-to-1, and normal engines are relatively simple with 3 foundries can be set here. So and all power for now is made with turbines with sulfuric acid with neutralization. But that's also because I have huge ores and huge resources on Vulcanus at the very beginning. Actually, the goal was to have enough coal for a big factory. So this thing is actually medium one, let's say. But one day I think I may be able to make big flowers of photovoltaic, but it's not a thing of notations. So yeah, I was much faster this time. Is there anything I want to say about the build? Actually, I was just wanting to avoid main boss like this because sure, main boss is cool, especially for Nauvis, because you can make one boss with some decent distribution. Like here were the place where the smelting column was, like this, but this is the ones that actually are not used because I just left Nauvis once and maybe for all. And yeah, my bus is really comfortable, but the thing is, it has very limitations in huge numbers. On Vulcanus, you can just make everything with pipes, pumps, and actually with very simple pipe distribution, you make almost entire factory in seconds. And even making it much bigger than it's already shouldn't be a big problem to actually extend it. But to extend it, I would need much more place, and if I need much more place, I need foundations, so it will take some time. So I just wanted to share my setup for 800 SPM, which is quite constant, and I think it's relatively easy to set up. So mostly one. I mean, two lines, one for copper, one for iron, and one big column which can fit lava like this. I mean, there is foundry for the iron, there is for copper. Between them there is a pipe for the lava, and as for the outer there is a iron one. For the inner there is a copper one, which can be connected together. So there's a little space saving here. And then there is making a landfill, and that landfill in my build walls will be recyclable, but it can as well go to the lava to burn. But what I mean is some foundry setup with some setup for stone making and some limitation on this is definitely enough to keep quite decent, I think quite decent factory. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you are a new in factory or something and you discover that main boss is a great thing, yeah, it's a great thing, but if you want to scale up a bit, like for that 800, I would recommend to consider that build up like this. So few pipes to distribute molten stuff, and mostly direct inserting for the biggest disadvantage is that to actually extend this build, I would need to basically rebuild it for a more line thing. But pre-assemblers like this, and literally one foundry making millibeds is enough to keep like 15 or 14 green science per second. So you need lines for things like blue science, but also can just avoid making 1 million bells like a Nauvis for the engines, like something like this. So big spaghetti there, and then one line of engines here. I know it's very splitted, but because I wanted to connect batteries to the bus later. So yeah, this video is about a bit about to not actually connect to main bus, but try to make relatively simple but working direct input, and maybe good. I mean, it's simply simpler, just simpler, I would say. And I just wanted to share it. So if anyone lasted to this moment, thank you for watching, and what can I say? Have a good day. Bye.